Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm going to tell you a couple of definitions that you will need to know in card magic. These definitions are quite basic, but they'll give you an understanding of different terms used in the art. So when you hear people using terms such as shuffle, cut, control, you'll know what they mean after this video, hopefully. So let's start off with the basic one called shuffle, and that just means you're mixing up the cards in a thorough manner. So this counts as a shuffle. You're mixing all the cards up, like so. There's different ways of shuffling. There's the overhand shuffle, like so. There's the faro shuffle, which means you're just intertwining the cards one right after the other, like that, and so on. Next is the cut, which means you're moving a portion or portions of cards to different positions in the deck to mix them up. And in this case, that's what I'm doing. Cutting is just moving portions of cards around to different parts into the deck, like so. A control means you're tracking a card or cards to any desired position in the deck, unknown to the spectator. For example, you could have the 5 of hearts, and just to control a card, you can place the rest on top, maintain a pinky break, and table cut, which means you're cutting all the cards above the break down onto the table, and then you're controlling that card to the top. So that means you know where the card is, but the spectator does not. Next is called the run, which means in the act of overhand shuffling, you're pulling off one card at a time, like so. So the spectator thinks you're mixing up the cards, but all you're doing is pulling off one card after the other. That's called a run. Next is called the jog, which means it's usually a single card that marks a spot in the deck, unknown to the spectators. So for example, this would count as a jog, right there. So you're marking a spot in the deck as you shuffle the cards. This here is known as an in-jog, and this will help you track a selected card. So for example, the selected card could be just below that, and then you could just control it to any position you want in the deck. Okay? So I just showed you the in-jog. The out-jog looks something like this, where you're just jogging the cards outwards, like that. Very simple, just the opposite of the in-jog. Next is called a stock, which means a section of cards that is usually retained. So for example, if I had, this bunch of cards here that I wanted to keep on top of the deck, I would call this a stock, and in the process of mixing up the cards, I would try to retain this portion and not lose it. So basically I can do a bunch of shuffles and cuts, and in the end, this portion here should not be disturbed. Okay, the first card is, I'm not sure, but basically a stock is just a portion of cards that's not messed up in the process of shuffling, cutting, and so on. Next is the break, which means any space or gap in the deck that is held usually by the pinky or the thumb, unknown to the spectator. So in this case, this is a pinky break. A thumb break looks like this. So you're holding a space with a thumb. And that also helps you track cards. So for example, you select the 4 of clubs. You square up the cards, maintain a break. That's called a break with your pinky. Then if you cut the cards, you can control the card back to the top. Next is called the blind. Blind just means you're shuffling and cutting the cards, but they're false. So basically the spectator does not know this. They think you're generally mixing up the cards, but in fact you're just maintaining the order of the entire deck. So this fools the spectators. They think everything is being mixed up, but in fact it's not. Next is called the uppercut, which means you're bringing upper portions of the deck to the bottom. So straight cuts would count as an uppercut, triple cuts, quadruple cuts, just like so. Any process of bringing cards to the bottom. So this also counts as well. You're bringing portions from the top to the bottom. Undercut is the complete opposite. You're bringing portions from the bottom to the top. A commonly known sleight is called the double undercut, which means you're just bringing packets of cards up to the top, like so. And last but not least is called a crimp. And now this means you're putting a bend in the cards, in a card or cards, to mark a spot. So I'm not going to do that for my cards, but let's just say this card was bent right here. So if I cut it into the center it would have that impression right in the card. It would be bent, and that helps me locate that card and probably cut right to the card. So those are all the terms that you'll need to know for now. And if you want me to explain any more, just let me know. But that is basically it. That is the basic definitions of card magic that I think you'll need to know. So that is it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.